And it is the Saturday Coffee Klatch with Heather Lofthouse and yours truly, Robert Reich. And Heather, what do we have on store today?
Let's discuss Kamala's momentum.
Oh, I love it.
It's good. Trump and Vance's stumbles.
Well, I like the stumbles.
And then, I know. And then let's get into the economy. We have to. And
Yeah,
the Olympics.
Okay. All related, all important.
Yeah.
Kamala,
themes.
this is the second week of Kamala Harris's extraordinary, the presidential race. When I say extraordinary, I mean we've never seen anything like this. In the month of July. Now, remember, she's only been running for basically 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks. Month of July, $310 million.
Biggest ever 1 month haul in presidential campaign history.
Compared to July for Trump, all of July.
Wah, wah. 137 something?
Yeah, 137. I mean, but that's just one indicator, and it's probably not the most important indicator. But 2/3 of those donations were first-time donations. You've got a lot of
donors,
people who have never donated before, people who are getting into a campaign who have never got in before, and the excitement is palpable. We talked last week about how the importance of excitement and momentum in campaigns, it cannot be overstated, and we're seeing it.
And tens of thousands of new volunteers coming in as well.
And this is all about not just Kamala, but it's also, let's face it, about finally people being excited about a candidate in contrast to Donald Trump. There is still this huge anti-Trump feeling out there. And what she is doing wonderfully well is that she is talking about Trump as a convicted felon. She's talking about her own abilities and her own agenda, and she's putting it all together in a package that seems really very, very good. Now, the question is how long the momentum is going to stay.
I know, good question. And also, I remember holding our breaths and thinking, is Biden going to pass the torch? What's going to happen? And
is he going to pass?
Is he going to stop?
Well, I know. I don't want to be. I am still enormously grateful.
Oh, it's incredible. And there
Biden.
Will be, and people are going to continue to talk about it.
And at the convention, excuse me for interrupting, and I hate to interrupt, I never interrupt.
No, please do it.
But at the convention, which is 2.5 weeks, the Democratic convention, I think there's going to be an extraordinary outpouring of affection for Biden.
As there should be.
As there should be.
There's been a lot of firsts and a lot of big progress when people, A, didn't think it would happen, and B, he's been up against a lot. I mean, also some faults, and he needs to have done better in some areas. But what I was going to say is, here we were all thinking he should have dropped out sooner, or if only this had happened before, or why is it so late? But it's interesting, we're in this time crunch, and it feels like a positive
It is interesting.
Force.
Maybe there was some, not that he intended it this way, but some sort of cosmos. It was working in the favor of the Democrats in terms of Biden waiting this long.
Yeah.
There being a sprint, 90 now, what is it now, 95 days, 94 days. And that sprint itself adds to the excitement and the enthusiasm. We've all got to get behind Kamala Harris.
Yeah, there's not a lot of time. So when is her VP pick coming? Tomorrow, some people say?
Yes, well, she has made it clear that she's going to be touring with the VP next week.
Tuesday rally.
So the VP pick, it could be even as we speak.
Should I check my phone?
Don't check your phone, no. I've arranged for the campaign to call me immediately.
Great. Yeah, we're good.
In fact, the VP is going to call me.
But so that would be fun. Can you put it on speakerphone? Who's it going to be?
I still think that Mark Kelly is in the lead, but the fellow who is the governor of Minnesota really has come up dramatically.
Tim Walz.
Tim Walz is he shares with Mark Kelly. He looks older. Mark Kelly looks older, but Mark Kelly is only, a year or two older than Kamala Harris. But they both have a gravitas because of their looking older, and also because they are there's a certain quality that they both have of being older. This is not an ageist
experience.
This is not an ageist comment. Now I know Mark Kelly. I know that he, under the most extreme, urgent, and really awful circumstances. I was there shortly after Gabby was shot. He is so even-tempered. He is so absolutely able to think through, even in the worst crises, exactly what
I
needs to be
mean,
done.
an astronaut, one would hope so.
Yeah,
He'd
well,
be steady.
that steadiness. There's a quality, and don't know Tim Walz, but I've heard he has that quality too. And maybe that's needed. Maybe that's useful.
Or it's perceived as being needed.
I don't think it is needed,
Right.
but the perception is everything. And this campaign, although there is huge momentum for Kamala Harris, let's not fool ourselves. The Trump-Vance campaign is throwing whatever it can at Kamala Harris. There's still a huge and growing gender gap in terms of voting.
Oh, big time. Yeah. I think so. First of all, and what you mean by that is women who say they will vote for Kamala versus men who say they will vote for Trump. So the latest I saw was in the New York Times Siena poll, and it was 14-point lead for Kamala in terms of women, 17-point lead in terms of Trump among men. That is 31 points, and that is bigger than it was in 2016. I mean, that is a big number. And then Quinnipiac said it was even bigger in their latest.
Now, that 31-point gap, that gender political gap, is probably the biggest I ever remember. Now, again, the fact that it's bigger than it was when Hillary Clinton ran against Donald Trump is saying quite a lot.
Yeah.
But also, remember, the Trump-Vance ticket is very explicitly organizing itself around macho men.
Yep.
And it's organizing itself around almost anti-women. I mean,
Oh.
look what Vance said about cat ladies. I mean,
I
that
know.
he said it a few years ago, but it was resurfaced, and he did not back off. He dug himself in even deeper this week.
But that doubling down is what his boss does, right? That's a Trump move.
Yes, but Trump can get away with it. I mean, everybody says, yes, Trump doubles down. Trump doubled down on his comment about, Kamala Harris not being really black. She suddenly became black. Well, that's absolute
That was
baloney.
horrific this week.
It's horrific. But he doubles down on it, and everybody kind of says, well, that's Trump. But when Vance doubles down, he can't do it in exactly the same way because people don't know Vance.
Yeah.
And I think Vance is digging a deeper and deeper hole for himself, not just on the cat lady comment, but on a lot of comments that are resurfacing that he is trying to defend.
So, yeah, he seems to be flip-flopping too, right? Now, is there a chance that
Yes.
Trump would dump him?
I think there is. I mean, Trump loves to do something that is counterintuitive and surprising.
Oh, I
and
hate it, though, because it would get so much play.
Well, it would, but Trump is also thinking about counter-programming.
Of course.
And with the Democratic convention coming up in 2.5 weeks, Trump is thinking, well, what can I do that is going to grab the attention? Kamala Harris is the new vice president. She's going to grab a lot of attention. She has momentum. She has excitement.
She has good retorts to him when he comes out against her. I mean, she holds her own and has great sound bites and rallies people, and then they meme her.
And she had a huge rally. I mean, 40,000 people. These are... and Trump is seething, obviously. So one way he grabs back attention would be maybe to drop Vance and say, you're fired, the equivalent, and put in...
I mean, if he said it that way.
No, he wouldn't say it that way.
He might.
But put in Elise Stefanik, for example.
Lady.
Some lady who is, as right-wing as Trump on many of the MAGA issues. Now, I'm just saying, it's possible.
Wow, this is fascinating. Well, I hope he doesn't do it for a couple reasons. One is I don't want him to get all that attention. Two is I think it would probably be a smarter strategic move because Vance is just not impressive right now. He's not helping him. I mean, I think people who already supported Trump, we know this, who are part of the base are like, okay, there's that guy. But a lady
Vance was
might...
put in clearly to reinforce the base. But it turns out that Vance is not only bad in terms of repartee and coming up with responses to what should have been clearly anticipated criticisms, but he's also not well liked. I mean, even in Ohio, it turns out most people in Ohio don't like the guy.
I know.
His personality is kind of mercurial and
So
all
it's
over the
just
place.
weird to use this phrase that so many
wasn't
people
it-
are using.
Well, this phrase actually comes from Tim
Walls?
Walls. He was the first one to use weird. That's one of the reasons he's off. He's so popular
I realized
suddenly.
that that's who we were giving
But
the
because
credit to.
because he says weird, and suddenly people say, yes, that's it. That characterizes. That's the best adjective to characterize Trump and Vance.
Yep.
Weird.
I mean, it's a kind adjective.
Kind.
It's kinder than I'd like to. I'd like to come up with a couple others myself, but it is. It's just bizarre. And then you have Vance, who's pro Lena Khan now, which would be weird, but we know that that's because he's a big supporter of Rumble, which is a rival of Google, and she's trying to take down Google in some ways.
I think there was some point, and maybe Vance is going to try to get back to this, of economic populism, that he is the voice of the people, of the working class, like Trump has tried to be, even though he gives big tax breaks only to the rich and to big corporations and to the oil companies. $1 billion, says Trump, and I'll get rid of all the environmental regulations. But I think that this is ultimately not working, and it does create an opportunity for Harris
Yep.
and whoever her vice president is to be the economic populists naturally. I mean, it should come naturally. This is what Democrats ought to be, not the cultural populists, not blaming a deep state and immigrants and everybody who's different, but really blaming the powers that have extraordinary wealth. I mean, Elon Musk, for example. Do you want somebody to blame? I mean, look at what Elon Musk and all of the bros, the Silicon
CE bros.
Yeah,
All the CE bros.
the CE bros.
Okay, speaking of CE bros and jobs in Silicon Valley, so yesterday we had a jobs report. How's the economy doing? What does it mean?
Well, the economy is slowing, Heather, and there is always a lag between what the Fed does in terms of this time raising interest rates very high and the economy slowing. We knew the economy was going to slow. The question is it slowing so fast that we risk a recession? And I think the risk is growing of a recession. So the Fed ought to, it should never have waited this long to lower interest rates. It's clear that it's going to lower interest rates maybe in September, but that may be slightly too late to avoid the results of rising unemployment and slow down in jobs.
So how does this affect the election?
Well, it may not help. I mean, the one problem that I think Kamala Harris and her vice president are going to face is the same problem that Biden and Harris faced, and that is an economy that most people say is not good because the prices I pay for food and for rent are skyrocketing, and they still haven't come down.
And I have multiple jobs and no savings.
And I have, I am dependent on a paycheck, and if the paycheck doesn't come in, if I don't have a paycheck, I am really in terrible condition. And that combination is suffered by too many people in this country. Now, again, Kamala Harris, if she came down and she said, well, one of the reasons that food prices are so high and energy prices are so high and rent so high is because of the consolidation of these industries into the hands of just a few that don't have to lower prices because they don't face competition. In other words, we're talking about corporate power here. If Kamala Harris were to really make that kind of statement, the Republicans would not come back.
Will she?
I
Wonder.
wonder.
Let's see.
I wonder. I mean, that would be. She won't in the next 2 weeks,
to November.
but closer.
Yeah.
But at the convention, her acceptance speech. What a terrific time to really turn economic populist.
I know. But you've been saying this for a long time.
Well, but I'm not running.
I know. Well, I know, but could someone listen already?
Would you be my vice president if I ran? By the
No
way?
way. I mean, if anyone, it would be yours.
Maybe you
but
should. Run. I'll be your vice president.
No,
How about
you
that?
couldn't. Pay, I mean, the pressure these people are under.
I don't. I mean, my heart actually does go out. I've seen up close presidents, people running for the presidency, and you wouldn't believe the pressure. I mean,
I can try to believe it, and I
well,
wouldn't-
I mean, I was thinking this the other day. Simone Biles, 4 years ago in Tokyo, she said the pressure is so much. Just for my own, she was wise enough to think about her own psychoanalytic health, and she said, I can't do this. I'm not going to do this.
And J.D. Vance said how weak of her. And I thought, America, we, prided strength or some horrible quote.
Well, also the men of America, or the white men, or the white Vance Trump men of America. It's all about strength. And it's all about, but a very, very limited view of strength. But Simone Biles comes back, and it's an extraordinary victory.
Oh, it's so great.
And the women's gymnastic team is the most diverse, and they're helping each other, and
and they're winning,
and they exemplify the best of America.
I know. Did you see her fabulous tweet? I think it was yesterday morning. So Trump keeps talking about so-called black jobs, and everyone's saying, what do you mean by that? And she said on Twitter, I love my black job. After pictures of her, being the GOAT, the greatest of all time.
This is, again, a reference to Trump's disastrous response to black women journalists. He doesn't know how to respond to strong black women. He doesn't know how to respond to strong women. And this is his. For the last 2 weeks, he's been flailing around trying to come up with some purchase, something that he can throw at Kamala Harris. And she refuses to allow him to do it. She throws it right back at him.
I know.
Which is great to see.
It was so important.
And so, going back to the Olympics, I couldn't help feel the analogy. I mean, of course, it stretches the analogy beyond what should be stretched. But here you have in Simone Biles, a woman, a black woman, young black woman, who, against all the odds, is doing extraordinarily.
Right.
And a team that is diverse, and a team that is winning, and USA, and they're holding a flag, not like Alito put up the flag,
please.
the Alitos, with their upside down flag, but a flag of the United States that you can be proud of, that we're all proud of.
I know. I'm going to Philly, and I think I'm going to take my kid to see Betsy Johnson's museum, whatever it is. What's her name?
Johnson's
No, what's
museum?
her name? No, the one who made the flag.
Betsy Johnson.
Yeah.
It
Who was it?
was
Betsy Ross.
Betsy Ross.
Betsy Ross.
Betsy Johnson's her.
Do you know who Betsy Johnson was?
Betsy Johnson was her maiden name.
No, but do you know who Betsy Johnson was? She designed clothing.
She's Howard Johnson's
That's
wife.
Hojo.
Yeah.
Wait, but I'm going to, I said to Oliver, I said, you get to see where the first American flag was sewn. It's going to be cool.
It is going to be cool.
Anyway, so all that.
Philadelphia, and summer in Philadelphia. I mean, as has been said, first prize, second prize is 2 days in Philadelphia. First prize is 3 days in Philadelphia.
No, it's so good. Yeah, but so have you been watching the Olympics?
Yes, it's been very.
Swimming? So gymnastics, obviously.
Gymnastics I watch. Swimming I didn't really
I like
pay
to
much
watch it
attention
all.
to.
I like to watch the weird ones. I like to watch dressage. I like to watch handball. I like the 3-on-3 basketball is weird. I like the beach volleyball. I like the judo.
Wow, you
I
are
love
really.
it all.
I'm a wrestler. I'm a high school wrestler.
You are.
Yes,
You're
and
a
I was-
high school, or you were a high school wrestler.
was.
That's just weird.
I was a
Speaking
high
of
school
weird.
wrestler. Yes, and I
Were you?
did not get to the Olympics.
Darn it. Have you ever been to an Olympics?
Never.
You haven't. I went in Atlanta whenever that was, years and years ago.
Have you ever been to a political convention?
No.
Well, listen.
I know you've been to a few. We've
It's
talked
like
about that.
it's like an Olympics.
It's like an Olympics. That's funny.
Not.
No. But anyway, so the Olympics, it's been amazing to watch, first of all this talent, and then, it's getting so much coverage. Speaking of corporate monopolies, by the way, it's interesting to try and watch it. You can only watch it in one good place, NBC and Peacock, all that. So anything else that we haven't covered? I'm trying to think.
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on, but I really, between the Olympics and what's happened to Trump and Vance this past week, and the surge, for the continued surge for Kamala Harris, I continue to feel great.
Oh, that's good. If you feel great, I feel hopeful.
Well, you should feel hopeful on your
But
own.
you're an optimist. You're a pessimistic optimist.
No, I'm a pessimistic optimist. That's right. I'm a what was it, sort of a cautious,
Nauseously
optimist.
optimistic.
I'm nauseously
Yeah,
optimistic,
you
and
said
on that note, we are
Cheers.
going to let you all be cautiously and nauseously optimistic this week. Take care of yourself. Enjoy what we are now enjoying in terms of the victories and the surge and the excitement and the momentum, but also bear in mind, and this is something I meant to kind of talk about, this is not going to last. That is, this is going to be one of the closest elections on record. We are going to, next week or very soon, talk about what happens when the Republicans, even if Kamala Harris and her running mate win, the Republicans, that is Trump and Vance, or whoever it is going to be, Trump and Elise Stefanik, when they contest the election. What happens when you have all of these election deniers who are now in the House? What is going to happen? They push through the 12th Amendment.
Yeah, let's save this for
Let's
another
save
clutch.
this.
This
No,
was
and I
such a
don't want
nice
to. Also,
clutch.
this is still a week to be remembered, a positive week. So have a good one, and we will see you next Saturday.